a little better. All right, so we are live on Facebook, and we are live on the Logic YouTube channel. To those on Facebook, hello, thank you for watching. Those on the Logic YouTube channel, thank you also. I, of course, am the logical one, John Wise. Before we begin the discussion, if you'll be so kind, hit the subscribe and like and share if you care. So, I did say I was going to be on at 3, so I'm early. Just trying to get everything set up. Ready for discussions. Michael, thanks for watching. Thanks for being there. If you're on Facebook, you're watching, give a hi, give a thumbs up. Let me know you're there. So again, if you're on Facebook, you want to watch over on the Logic, I post the link to the channel, so you can join in on either one. So I know I said 3 o'clock. I'm early. People can join in whenever they want. So let's go ahead and just let's get this out of the way. So little under a couple hours ago, I was on my last break at work. I'm like, I was on my last break at work. I'm on Facebook, and I find out the worst possible news. The news that comic book fans around the world have known was coming for a while, have thought was coming for a while, but didn't want to hear was coming. And it is here, and that is the unfortunate passing of the legend, the man, Stan Lee. If you're watching this and you see the tagline, "Rest in Peace, Stan Lee," I'm assuming you know who Stan Lee is. If not, I'll go over a very, very quick, very brief synopsis. Responsible of co-creating the greats, my personal favorite all-time Marvel character, Spider-Man. He created the Incredible Hulk, Captain America. Of course, he created these along with Jack Kirby. I don't want to leave Kirby out of this. Thor. Good Lord, I mean, the Fantastic Four, Doctor Strange. I mean, the list is mind-boggling. It's huge. If you're growing up and a child of the 60s and 70s, you've watched some of the old Marvel cartoon series, chances are you heard Stan Lee narrating these animated shows. Of course, Stan is in the public eye almost yearly because he does constant cameos in the Marvel films. Even in Deadpool, he was in Deadpool. My girlfriend, I messaged her while I was on, letting her know what happened. She told me she knew. Told her I was at work crying. I cried. I'm holding back tears right now. And she goes, and I told her, I don't even know why I'm crying. I didn't know the man personally. And she tells me it's because he had a big influence on your life. And it's true. It's true. I think Stan had a big influence on a lot of people's lives. On my friends list, I have, and I always pronounce his last name wrong, so Ed, I apologize in advance, but Ed Lozanzo Jr., I'm sorry. I know he had a huge impact on his life, his current career in art. A lot of my artist friends, Charles Wright, Shannon, Cornthwaite, I always pronounce your name wrong too. I don't know why. I'm hoping today you'll give me a pass on it. And me, I mean, I tried to draw. I drew a lot of Marvel characters. I drew Stan Lee. I wish to God I still had that picture I drew with Stan Lee. I gave it to a local comic book store to hang up, and when I took it down, I never saw it again. So, yeah, Stan has meant a lot to me growing up. He was pretty much everything. Uh, and so yeah, it's kind of rough. It's been a rough couple of hours. I had people at work. It's always interesting to non-comic book people, to the non-comic book community, to the non-geek culture, because they'll ask you what's wrong. You go, oh, so and so died. Stan Lee died, and who? And you don't want to go into this rage, you don't. But you have to somehow calmly explain to them who Stan Lee is, why you're crying about this person you never actually knew, all while trying to hold back tears because you're at work. You don't want to, show that kind of emotion while you're at work, right? And I did. I showed quite a bit. It was a rough last hour at work. It really was. It was. So I immediately had to make phone calls. Um, to friends, did you hear the news? um, so, um, so yeah, I mean, I'll explain right now why I cried, why I'm still holding back tears. Stan Lee was a huge influence. There's three people who, when they passed away, I cried. I cried like a baby, and that was the death of Roddy Piper, Robin Williams, and now Stan Lee. And these three guys held quite possibly the biggest influence on me in my life. Um, my biggest part of my imagination probably came from reading Spider-Man. And a lot of the other Marvel comics. I resonate most with Spider-Man. Of course, Masters of the Universe is in there. And God, would it have been amazing had Stan Lee had some type of hand in creating that franchise? That would have been amazing. So yeah, I mean, I grew up. With reading all the Marvel books, all his creations, and the to read that on Facebook was just it was a blow. My heart broke immediately. Like the wind literally got knocked out of me. I had to put my hand over my mouth from screaming out. So I mean, like I said earlier, it was coming. It was coming. We all knew it was coming. Um, we just didn't want. We just didn't want it. We just didn't want it to ever happen. To us, Stan Lee was going to live forever. He was going to be in Marvel movies 10 years from now, doing cameos, trying to, ham it up, trying to get more lines, trying to get more screen time. I'm fully convinced that if he had his way, there would have been a superhero Stan Lee movie about Super Stan, or Super the Man, or something. He was. He was something else. And everybody, I never had a chance to meet him. I have a comic book signed by Stan Lee. It's the first John Romita Sr. on Spider-Man. And I have that signed by Stan Lee. I got it when I had the comic book store, but I never had a chance to meet the man. And it goes under the one things I regret never getting to do. And now I never will. But everybody I've heard who did get a chance to meet him And all the stories I've heard and all the stories I've read, not one person had ever said a bad or mean thing about Stan. And that says something. That's got to say something about them. The world thought the world of Stan Lee. Everybody in geekdom. If you were a comic book fan, if you were a Marvel movie fan, um, if you were a comic book Marvel movie fan, you loved the guy. You didn't know him. You didn't know why you loved the man, but you loved him. He was like that uncle that you wish would come see you on Christmas. And you see him in all the past videos, not so much the new ones when he had the issues that he was having with his caretakers, but the newer ones. You saw how much fun he had. There we go. It's all going to come out after the video. I should have grabbed a bottle of water before I came on. I've been coughing like this a lot. I had nothing to do with it. Today's events. Um. Oh, did you? Sorry. Give me just a few moments to compose myself, please. Uh, uh, gross. I know. I'm sorry. You didn't come on here live to see me blow my nose. By all means, if anybody has any stories to share, if you're live with me right now, feel free to share them. If you have any memories, feel free to share them. If you're watching this video later on YouTube, on Logic, which I'm right now, I'm on Facebook Live on my page, and I'm on the Logic. Feel free to comment below. I do respond back. I would normally have some type of action figure or memorabilia to show off. I would love to have had my Stan Lee signed comic book. Unfortunately, it's upstairs. I can't get to it. And I really wanted to come on here immediately after work to discuss. I did, however, change my shirt, and you will notice that I am wearing Spider-Man. So, I am wearing Spider-Man, by the way. I did change. So this has been a rough one. I'm assuming that Stan managed to do at least one more cameo, possibly two. We got the Avengers 4 next year, as well as Captain Marvel. So hopefully we got at least one or hopefully two more cameos of the man film before all this. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, though, watching a fat, almost 40-year-old man cry about somebody he didn't know. But it's been a rough one. But I plan on staying on here for a little while. If anybody wants to say hi or talk about Stan Lee or comics or the influence that he had on your life, by all means, chime in. Um, yeah, chime in. Don't let me be the only one over here bawling. Now, some of you may realize my glasses are off. If I have my glasses on, there's a glare, so I took them off. Um, yeah, I think we lost a bunch of people on Facebook now. They saw the fat guy cry, and I was like, all right, I'm done. So, but I thank you and them and everyone who's tuned in for tuning in. Um, I'll just do final thoughts. I'll keep these brief and short. I know my videos are usually a lot longer, um, but my final thoughts on Stan Lee. I just want to say, hopefully, I can do this without bursting into tears again. Thank you, Stan Lee, for everything you gave us. Thank you for being the person that you were and the person that you always will be in our hearts, in our minds. Thank you for sharing with us your love, your laughter, your humor. Thank you for being a part of our lives. You gave so much, and it meant so much to so many people. And you were you always in all the interviews, you've always seemed pretty humble. I mean, you always seemed thankful to all the fans. Like I said, I had never heard a single bad story about anyone who's ever met Stan Lee. So thank you for that, Stan. You will be missed, God Lord, by so many people. I want to say millions. Of course, my favorite character is Spider-Man. My favorite Marvel character is Spider-Man. So I got to thank you for for Spidey. And you're at peace now. Uh, and when you return, that's what I believe. I have no doubt that the impact you'll have will be just as great, if not greater. Your legacy will continue to thrive. Your legend will go on. I'm fully convinced that within a year that we will hear that there will be a movie about Stan Lee that Bryan Cranston, I insist, plays Stan Lee. Perfect role for it, I think. Stan Lee to be played by Bryan Cranston. I'm fully convinced that we will get a Stan Lee movie within the next couple of years. So, with that being said, I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to grab a Spider-Man book. and probably cry in it as I attempt to read it. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in on Facebook Live. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and who will tune in to watch on the YouTube. I am the logical one, John Wise. And one last time, I say, and I say loud and proud, Excelsior!